How have you bought happiness with money? Peace of mind in knowing that I have a home and dependable transportation. Using money to buy a sense of security. Nailed it. I worked nearly full time from 18-30 and never netted more than 20k. I was stressed all the time and was quite miserable. Finally I'm making 35k and I'm happier all the time. Car repairs? No big deal. I have savings. Hungry but too tired to cook? No problem. I'll pick something up. Sick and scared? I can afford to go to the doctor. Literally every aspect of my life is happier because I have some money. Traveling. Every time I have spare money it goes straight into my next trip. My BF travel buddy just left me but I'd like to continue to travel when possible. It just seems harder when you're alone. We try and do 2 trips a year. I like traveling alone. You can go where you want, when you want, and eat what you want and when you want. Food. The food I buy only fills me with guilt and self-hate. Eat better food. And less of it. Pursuing my passion. Investing in long-term happiness instead of short-term gratification. I'm hoping that someday I will be as mature as you. Paid off all my debt. It seems like just a number or a value. Like buying a car. Or a house. But psychologically it's freedom. Now I can afford to finance a huge house. And a nice car but I refuse to buy anything that's not in cash. I live in a 900 SQFT house not in an HOA because I'm not stupid enough volunteer another layer of authority into my life. And continue to drive used cars and I don't owe any money to anybody. In fact all I have is positive money to lose in the form of investments. But I have cash cushion to back that up anyways. 2 years ago when my company had layoffs. When it was announced everyone at work freaked out. Some were in tears. And everyone raced to get their resume out onto the job market. I went back to my desk and bought a one-way ticket to Seoul from my work computer. Ironically. And I spent 3 weeks going from Korea to Taiwan to Japan before deciding on my own to come home. Showed up to a grossly long lawn but no stern letters from Jacob with an inferiority complex. Then I chilled at home for 3 more months before looking and starting my new job. All because I chose to pay down debt before tacking on more debt to buy a new truck and a 2000 SQFT home with an HOA. Debt is bondage. The most valuable thing you can buy with money is you time and freedom. I like to buy little surprise gifts for my mother. Her happiness makes me happy. Flying lessons. I started in March and am now commercially rated. Currently working on my flight instructor certificate. And I'll probably be a regional airline pilot by early 2020. I'm so much happier now than I was working a desk job. Oh wow, congratulations. You must have had a lot of money saved up. My partner is stalled right now after getting his private license because he ran out of money. Just need to save up another 60,000 or so and he can complete his training. He got a job as a RAM service agent just so he can still be around planes and not lose sight of his goal. Paying slightly more to live by myself instead of living in a house share. My guitar. I've started a few weeks ago but I'm having a blast with learning it. It is the most fun I've had in a while and adds a lot of excitement in my life. Full stop. Bought a PS4 Pro recently after years of waiting. Finally being able to play games is heaven. Having my own place. I can't tell you how much stress and anxiety and awkwardness I've had to deal with housemates. It's unusual to have your own place in my city but I finally managed to do it this year. Funny. For me it's the opposite. I wasted so much money trying to live in terrible small studios before I figured that I can live with nice quiet housemates for 1/3 of the price and have x3 the space. Eat good food and not worry about money. For me it's worth it. I pay women to hang out with me. I cook them dinner and we watch movies or play board games. We don't have sex but we do cuddle. This is probably not the kind of happiness people are expecting. I guess. But unless you've been thoroughly alone for years, it's hard to explain. I'm 32 and have never been in a relationship, and I have very few friends. If I could afford it, I would hire a guy to hang out with me in the same way you do. So I completely understand. When I had no money, it felt like, if I just get this one more thing, I'll be happy. If I could just afford to get this, my life would be measurably happier. Then I came into a bit of money. I'll admit I went on a small spending spree. But after I had bought all the things I wanted, that compulsion doesn't happen anymore. I guess it's not technically happiness, but just knowing that I can pretty much afford anything I want has taken a burden off of me. Buying toys for my kids. Money. And so toys is a bit of a luxury in our household at the moment. When they get to open a new toy, they are so excited and happy, and that just makes my day. I pay huge amounts of cash for live shows, literature and clothes, makeup and stuff that I might not really need but only want. Just so I can always remember that I worked hard for that and I deserve it. That makes me happy. I spend thousands of dollars a year going to live shows between ticket costs, hotels, food, merch, and booze. Every time I go is the best night I've ever had, and I just do it again and again. It makes me so damn happy. My bills are paid and I can buy a coffee or a sandwich if I want one while I'm out, rather than waiting in thirst or hunger until I'm home later. Those are such simple things. But after not being able to even do that for a while, it makes me pretty happy that now I can. I bought my girlfriend an advent calendar for £100 with beauty products in it. Every day she makes a little vlog opening it and sends it to me. Always makes me smile. A Nintendo Switch Plus Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild combo package. A weighted blanket has helped me and my fiancé finally sleep through the night. Amazing what that can do to lessen the daily toll of anxiety and depression. I stopped buying myself things because Christmas is approaching, but this is on my list of post-Christmas if I didn't get one purchases. Buying the tools that support my passions and traveling. Money buys freedom, and using that money or the freedom to do things that make you happy. You've probably heard people referring to debt as a prison, and it's true. Creating small toiletry bags and passing them out to the enormous homeless camps in my hometown. It was awful to see so many families in need. So each holiday it was affordable, my family and I would do this and went out to give food necessities to them. $25 for my pet rabbit. I will whack someone in the neck with a hammer if they duck with my baby. She's the most important thing in my entire life. Fellow house rabbit owner here. I have two and they are my babies. Currently sofa bound due to dislocating my knee, and the most frustrating thing is not being able to sit on the floor with them. MDMA is pure happiness for a few hours, and I've bought that a few times. A few hours of happiness and a few days of depression and low mood. That's why I gave it up. I made enough to move out of my abusive family's house. 90% of my problems went away, and I've never been happier. Most of the money I spend feels like a waste, except for the money I spend in my car. I feel like I'm in a different social class because of it. That's just how much better it makes my life. Before I would have to walk 10-20 minutes to a bus stop. No GPS tracking on the buses, so it's often a 10+ minute wait for them. So around 30 minutes for the privilege of getting crammed into a metal tube where people smack me with their backpacks, step on my shoes, eat smelly food and kindly spread their germs everywhere. But my car is my sanctuary. It's super clean, runs well, takes me anywhere in the city in under 20 minutes, and has been the catalyst for countless adventures to where buses just don't go. All this for a cheap Craigslist car that costs about as much as a transit pass to stay registered and keep running. When I worked my first job, I gave my first ever paycheck to my dad to help him pay one of the bills that he couldn't. He was freaking out so much about it and super worried, and it just hurt to see that. Seeing that relief on his face when I gave him my check made me very happy. Maybe it was relief, but it was good to see him slightly less stressed. I bought an old Porsche. Also, we got that legal weed up here in Canada. Robot vacuum. The ease of not having to sweep up after 4 adults, 2 children, and 3 cats is amazing. One less chore to do. There was an adopt a senior for Christmas this year. The lady I got wanted a walker with a seat and brakes. I figured if that was the first thing on your Christmas list, you have some big needs. So a couple of friends and I got her everything on the list plus a few things. New winter coat, winter boots, some shoes, blankets for her bed and the best fanciest walker they make. It really is the best money I ever spent. It feels like we changed her life in a pretty positive way. In the process of planning a remodel on a very old house in a historic district. I bought it in my early 20s when the area was considered rough. It makes me feel super happy to know that we're preserving a tiny little piece of history. My beautiful Siamese cat. He is coming up 10 years old and we have been through many milestones and adventures together. Even moving him from New Zealand to Australia with me. He is my best buddy. Hiring cleaners. It's definitely a luxury and they do things that I could do myself. But because they are cleaning other things on a regular basis that I wouldn't think to do. Dusting baseboards. Cleaning out the stove drip trays. etc. My home just feels nicer. And ultimately, it's buying me time. Time I would have spent cleaning, and definitely not as good as they do, can now be used pursuing my own interests. Gaming PCs for the family. Good meals. Paying the bills and keeping people warm. Playing Santa this Christmas. Never had money for this before but I am really looking forward to seeing everyone's faces this Christmas. I spent about $1,500 split between the family. Not a lot to some but significantly more than we had last year. Feels good. 4 years ago I adopted a foster cat and paid to do so. Called him Zizzy. Soon after I got caught in a troublesome period of my life. Depression. Anxiety. And my cat stood by my side every day. When I was feeling really down. I used to stay at home. Just to stay with the cat cuddling on the couch. We shared tuna cans when I didn't have the strength to do groceries. When I was thinking about suicide. I thought it wouldn't be good for him to be alone again. I'm much better now. And he's still with me. Zizzy is now a fat little fluffy boy. And he still loves tuna. I love him so much. And he still makes me happy. It was expensive. But the money helped to shelter to save other cats. Best investment ever.